The 5 things I quit this year taught me that growth in a vintage business doesn't always come from doing more. It often comes from noticing the parts of your workflow that quietly drain your time or weigh on your decision making. The things you keep out of routine or guilt, or simply because that's what you think sellers are supposed to do. When I finally stepped back and looked honestly at where my time and energy were going, a few patterns became very clear. Letting go of these 5 things made my business feel lighter, steadier, and far more manageable. And the first one is something I spent years trying to master until I finally realized that my shop didn't need it at all. Hi friends, I'm Carol. If you've been here for a while, you know I'm always refining how I run my shop, not to make it bigger or busier, but to make it calmer and more sustainable. This past year, instead of setting big new goals, I paid attention to what was weighing me down. And once I let go of a few things I'd been hanging on to for far too long, my daily workflow became clearer, smoother, and honestly, a whole lot more enjoyable. So today I'm sharing 5 things I quit this year, changes that helped me work with more focus and less friction. And let's start with the one that used to take up far too much of my mental space. For years, I kept trying to figure out how to make Etsy ads work for vintage. I'd experiment, adjust, try again, and honestly, ads never came through for me in a meaningful way. They just drained money from my business. My margins don't allow for the kind of multi-week ad campaigns that Etsy recommends, especially for one-of-a-kind items where there's no benefit to repeating ads. I do use the monthly $5 credit that I get from my Etsy Plus subscription. I'll usually put that into place on a Saturday, on a higher ticket, or a new item that can absorb the cost. But beyond that, I have stopped trying to force Etsy ads to work in my shop. And here's the surprising part. My business does just fine without them. One thing I do appreciate, though, is Etsy's off-site ads. Those have consistently brought in good sales, and I'm perfectly happy to let Etsy handle that on their end. Letting go of Etsy ads didn't slow my business down. It freed up my energy and it freed up my time. And that clarity has helped me to see the next habit that I needed to let go of. For a long time, I felt almost embarrassed using tools that made things faster for me. ChatGPT, Canva, batching workflows. But guilt slowed me down more than the tasks themselves. Once I reframed it, these tools aren't cheating or shortcuts. They are leverage because everything has changed. And the difference was measurable. Once I restyled all of my thumbnail photos in April using AI, my May sales doubled. And my sales have stayed high. Not because I'm working harder, but because I'm working smarter and using all the tools available to me. These tools allow me to focus on the parts of my business that only I can do, like the sourcing, the storytelling and the descriptions, the photography, and connecting with buyers. And that leads naturally into a quick note about the systems behind my business. If you would like to have the exact workflows I use, sourcing checklists, pricing pages, inventory tracking, photo and listing routines, quarterly review sheets. All those items live inside my new Vintage Reseller Studio Guide. I'm not going to go in depth on it here because I walked through it fully in my December 9th video. I can put a link to that up here, but I'll put a QR code on the screen and link it below if you'd like to take a look. Maybe it's something you can use in your business. If not, that's okay too. Now let's move into something I quit that completely changed how I approach quarter four. I used to think quarter four meant cramming my shop full of Christmas items. More Christmas inventory, I thought. More quarter four success, right? Not anymore. This year, I quit that mindset entirely. Instead of trying to build a massive Christmas section, I kept it focused and I carried fewer than 70 items. And I only stocked the categories that I know sell consistently well for me in my shop. Your categories may be different. Nativity sets, porcelain Santas, snow babies. Yes, I still sell a lot of snow babies. I know they've supposedly gone out of style, but people still really like them. And Christmas serveware like salt and pepper shakers, butter dishes, teapots, and other serving pieces. The season is simply too short to devote more of my shop space and my budget to highly seasonal pieces, especially because I put my shop on vacation mode for the last 3 weeks in December. And honestly, my December sales don't totally rely on Christmas items. Plenty of non-seasonal items sell as gifts or for holiday hosting. I'm still selling wedding cake toppers in December. Simplifying quarter four gave me margin that I haven't had in years, and that opened the door to recognizing another pattern worth quitting. Pricing used to make me nervous. I'd talk myself out of raising prices or putting higher prices on items even when I knew my margins needed it. Two things finally changed that. First, and you know this, sourcing costs have gone up. If I want to maintain a good margin, my prices have to reflect those real increases. And second, the perceived value of items in a shop that's well curated has gone up. Buyers aren't just purchasing the item, they are buying the time I spent sourcing, researching, cleaning, styling, photographing, and presenting those items. Once I accepted those two truths, raising prices or putting high enough prices on new items didn't feel scary. It felt fair. And the right buyers didn't hesitate. That brings me to the last thing I quit, the one that gave my shop a whole new sense of order and lifted a huge burden from me. For the longest time, if I listed an item, it stayed forever, even if it hadn't had a single view in months. This year, I finally created a clear timeline for every item, a structure that removes emotion and keeps inventory and money flowing through my shop. Here's the system. I activate a new listing and I monitor the traffic, the views, and the favorites. After 2 to 3 months, if it hasn't had many views or favorites, I update the photos and the title. After a little more time, maybe 4 to 6 months, especially if it's had a lot of favorites, I strategically lower the price if it still hasn't sold. And at around 12 months, except for wedding, anniversary, and Christmas items, I may move it into a clearance section. A section I set up and I call it summer clearance, winter clearance, spring clearance, whatever. And I'll put it on sale for 30% off for 1 to 2 months. That usually moves quite a bit of it. Then what's left, I'll put it 50% off for another month or 2. Then, if it still hasn't sold, I deactivate it. I may pull it and use it in a curated vignette bundle in my shop, or I may take it to my booth where it usually sells because I can price it very flexibly there. If all else fails, I can just redonate it somewhere. Letting go of old inventory isn't failure. It's a strategic reset. Quitting these 5 things didn't shrink my business. It gave it room to grow. Sometimes the biggest breakthroughs come from letting go of the habits that quietly weigh us down. Tell me in the comments, what's one thing you want to quit doing in your business next year? And if you're interested in my goals for my business next year, make sure you tune in next week. Thanks for being here today.